Hi, everybody. If you watched me yesterday, I said I would be back about this time. It's 3:15 in the afternoon on this Tuesday. We have the high wind warning now in effect along the coast for south wind gust. We have the wind advisory now in effect up and down the I-5 corridor. This is from Eugene and areas southward all the way up into the Kelso Longview area. So that's mainly what I'm going to focus on this video. And to the right, here's the watch warning map from the Weather Service. So the brown tones right here, the kind of golden tones, notice broken areas along the coast range and the high wind warning and up and down the coast until 4 a.m. overnight tonight. Although I do believe the main wind threat ends once we get past midnight tonight, both coast and valley. And then here's that more of a, well, lighter brown color, we'll call it. This is the wind advisory up and down the valley, including Southwest Washington and all the way up into central Washington. There's Toledo. We have a winter weather advisory for snow, not the winter storm, not the big amounts we had yesterday, but more snow at pass level falling now and into tonight. And then another wind warning, which will go into effect. I believe this one goes into effect at 4 p.m. So in the next hour, Bend, Redmond, Madras, and areas of central and parts of eastern Oregon. Again, it's south winds into the morning hours of tomorrow, potentially gusting to 16. Kind of interesting. See this color right here where my cursor is, where it says buoy 46029 and etc. This is a warning for hurricane force winds. Now, this attaches itself to the Oregon coast near and south of Florence, if that map is correct. It does not include the central and northern Oregon coast or southwest Washington, but hurricane force winds of gusts to 80 to 85 miles per hour expected because of this bomb cyclone. And when you get closer to the center of the satellite, this is an amazing visible satellite picture. Take a look at this. I've circled it. See the intenseness? If you look at this right here, notice how the signature of this absolutely looks like a hurricane, right? And again, bomb cyclones, by definition, all you really need to recall is that you have a weak system, and then in a rapid period of time, usually no more than 24 hours, it just explodes into a deepening, strong low pressure system, almost like having a tropical storm, and then in a 24-hour period, it explodes into a major hurricane. Again, this has pressure gradients much like a hurricane. It has winds much like a hurricane, but you have to be near the proximity of the storm, and it's going to stay out to sea. So confidence is high at this point that we will not have anything overly significant. But boy, what a great look at the visible satellite picture. Now, right here is the upper wind flow pumping moisture into our area. And the models seem to be settled on that the heaviest rain, we talked about this yesterday, will be along the northern Oregon coast, where there could be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-inch rain amounts. We're not going to get that much up here in northern Oregon or up into Washington. Okay, we're going to look at this animation coming up in a minute because it's absolutely fascinating, right? Absolutely. The nuts and bolts of the, again, coast wind warning issued by the National Weather Service, south to southeast gusts 40 to 60 miles per hour. If you're new to our area, this is kind of garden variety stuff. You've actually got to have a 60 mile per hour wind gust as a possibility before the Weather Service will even issue a wind warning along the beaches. So it's kind of a low end criteria. Not strong enough typically to do much damage or anything, but it's a hazard. So FYI on that. I-5 corridor wind advisory until 4 a.m. overnight tonight. South gust, many areas I think will see winds stay under 40 miles per hour, which is just blustery, but nothing else. Could be some south gusts reaching 45 miles per hour in spots. And again, I talked about this yesterday. I still feel in growing confidence the main threat, if we're going to have any damaging winds in the Willamette Valley and up into southwest Washington, will be not from south, but from east winds coming up over the Cascades and rolling down, or mainly, maybe not over the Cascades, but rolling down the west slopes of the Cascades, and then downslope winds shooting into the valley, being pulled toward that center of that strong low pressure system setting out in the Pacific. Clearly, the Columbia River gap, there could be 50 mile per hour winds racing out of the Columbia River up into parts of eastern Clark County. And if we get 50, 55 mile per hour east winds, that would likely trigger some power outages. We'd have some tree hazards with, tree branches down. This will be very localized locations. I really don't think we have enough of a south wind up the valley to cause any widespread issues just from the south wind itself, okay? So the Weather Service put this out. I just want to talk about the impact. late afternoon through early evening. I really think this is mainly a late afternoon evening event. Again, when I look at the data and you get past midnight tonight, the wind threat significantly starts to fall apart in terms of anything significant. But this would be significant, right? Down tree branches, weak trees, unsecured outdoor decorations. It's holiday season, may blow away. Localized power outages, especially if we get those spotty east wind areas. Difficult driving conditions. Well, in the rain and the wind, reduced visibility night big time. And then they mentioned bridges and jetties again, the National Weather Service, a great local office out of Portland putting that out. Okay, before I get more into the bomb cyclone and the wind and the rain forecast, I want to touch on mountain travel conditions real quick. On the left, this is US 26 up at Government Camp. 30 degrees. ODOT's got some patches of bare pavement, but that's definitely winter. Again, this has been the first major winter storm that hit yesterday at pass level, with, in some cases, 8, 9, 10 inches of snow right at pass level. You got US 26 as Sunset Rest Area. This is on the east slope of the Coast Range. 38 degrees. Highway's okay. Roadside snow. Wow. Snow levels are going up tonight. So anything moving forward overnight tonight and tomorrow will be just rain over the Coast Range, by the way. And then out east, the Blue Mountains, here's 84 Cabbage Hill. And you see there's snow roadside, but they've got I-84 in pretty good shape. Here's a look at the snow level forecast real quick. So I mentioned we're rising to 4,000 feet. Snow level's been 1,500 feet and even lower in spotty locations the last day and a half. Now tonight goes up to 4,000 feet, holds at 3,500 feet tomorrow. That's more snow accumulation at pass level, but all rain over the Coast Range, obviously. And then there's another system on Thursday that gives us a surge. We could have a wet mix Thursday overnight into Friday morning, 6,000 feet at Timberline Lodge, but there's not a ton of precipitation with this, and it's going to be short-lived. By Friday afternoon, snow levels down to 5,000 feet. This would be rain or a wet mix at pass level, but at least we would mainly preserve the 50 inches of snow we have at 5,000 feet and higher up in the Cascades. Okay. Real quick shout out to the Momentous Wealth Podcast. I hope you check this out. Really a great firm. They handle all of my retirement investment accounts. You can listen to their library of different investment topics to educate you on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. This is brought to you from the local firm Momentous Wealth Management, licensed in both Oregon and Washington. Give them a call and thank them for sponsoring this podcast. Okay. Let's get serious. Back to this incredible, this is from the College of DuPage. You can Google this and pull up this weather page on your own. It's one of the better satellite imagery pages on the web. Here's Portland. Here's Oregon. Here's Washington. Here's the center of the low. Again, it's the center of the low is more than 200 miles out to sea. And it's not expected to get any closer. That's why it looks like we are going to avoid any overly powerful winds. It's still tracking where it's going to follow my cursor. It's going to move a little bit north and then curl back toward the Gulf of Alaska through the day tomorrow into tomorrow night. So that's fantastic news. But look at the convection of the heavy rain band, just like a hurricane spiraling out ahead of this. Now, notice those heavy rain bands. There's a front right here. So eventually we will get some heavy rain bands along the coast and in the Coast Range tonight that are expected to kind of break up and not overly hit the valley hard. Again, the rain bullseye is going to be down here in the Northern California. What a great look. Remember, a hurricane is a cyclone. A low pressure center is a cyclone. And really, even a tornado vortex, same spinning. It's kind of a cyclone. They're all in the same family. That's why this, when it's strong enough, these lows in the Pacific can look like hurricanes. Pretty incredible. Okay, let's check and see 3 o'clock obs. Noticeably breezy at my house up here in Clark County, but here's what the numbers are. 3 o'clock obs from the Weather Service. Astoria, 47, east gust to 29. Tillamook, east gust to 30. So about 25 to 30 along the coast. There's Vancouver getting an east wind at Pearson Airfield right out of the gorge to 33. Hillsborough, even in Washington County, that's an east wind coming out of the gorge to 26. That means it's blustery across much of the Portland metro area to about 25 right now. Notice Salem, southeast at 7. The Futurecast modeling when I worked at KGW this morning never gave you folks in Salem any wind. I think you've got to at least get some 20, 25 mile per hour gust overnight, but it really keeps you folks protected from east winds, and it doesn't ignite that much of a south wind. So we'll see. You're in the wind advisory, so better if you have something you don't want to blow away, yard decorations, better to hunker down and be, safe rather than sorry. Here's Troutdale. So far, not that big a deal. East winds to 28. And we have the wind warning starting at 4 o'clock out in eastern Oregon, including Bend and central Oregon. South wind, there's a straight south wind at 36. So there could be a stronger south wind east of the Cascades tonight than there will be up and down the Willamette Valley. Kind of interesting, right? Just the way the spacing of the pressure gradients are coming together. So my weather site that I own and operate and designed, basically, I paid a coder to put it together, is portlandweather.com. And one of the great things is I have all of these separate pages. So here's the gorge. Hood River right now, 41, east winds at 9. And there's the Hood River forecast. And what I wanted to show you is if you come down to this map, and you can click on Crown Point right now, 39 degrees. This is the Vista House, which is kind of a wind explosion area, right? So let's see what they're doing. Hourly reports. Look at that. Northeast winds gusting to 47. This is what I'm talking about. 50-mile-per-hour winds building in the coming hours. Boom, blowing out of the Columbia River, dispersing in parts of eastern Clark County, eastern Multnomah County, coming down the slopes of the Cascades, perhaps into eastern Clackamas County. The greatest wind threat will be east winds. Pretty confident about that the more I look at all the data. Okay, here is what the National Blended Model weather model is showing for the winds. Let's start at 4 o'clock, so top of the hour. And notice out here, oh my goodness gracious, 77-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Now, clearly we're offshore. Here's Portland. Here's the coast. And this is offshore where we have that warning for hurricane force winds. Good grief, right? So at the top of the hour, this makes sense. I think this model is a pretty good handle on it, actually. 20, 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts up and down the valley. It doesn't pick up on the east winds very well. I think they're going to be much stronger coming out of the east than what this shows, but let's move on. So let's play it into this evening. Here we are at, this would be 10 o'clock. This would be 10 o'clock tonight. 50-mile-per-hour winds plus southern Oregon coast. These are gusts. 37 to 47-mile-per-hour winds in the central coast, about 40-mile-per-hour winds up in Astoria. The heaviest winds backing off. Let me back this up again. So here's that 60-mile-per-hour winds getting into early evening. And then notice how even early to mid-evening, right here where you see the orange and yellows, that's the dangerous wind field that we were really concerned about. My goodness, by 10 o'clock tonight, it's already pulling out, which means that low is already pulling away from us. And it really shows it here, okay? And again, I don't think this model is picking up on the east winds. I wish I had an animation with the arrows that I could show you to who's getting an east wind and who's not. But it's really just picking up on the settlers. Here we are at 5 a.m. in the morning Wednesday. Once we get past midnight tonight, I think the threat of the highest winds at the coast and the valley will be kaput, including the east wind threat. So 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, still a breezy day on Wednesday. 30-mile-per-hour gusts along the beaches, 20-mile-per-hour gusts in the valley. Let's just play it to 4 p.m. Wednesday. Now, calming later in the day, look at all the single digits to 50-mile-per-hour winds. Again, I wish I had something that clearly showed you the east winds. I don't, but as I mentioned, if you live in the East County areas where you can get winds coming off the slopes of the Cascades or any proximity to the gorge, you could get hit pretty good. Again, even that threat will be ending by midnight tonight. What about rain? This has really fallen apart. Good grief. We talked about this yesterday. There is zero concern in the forecast community of anybody watching this for any flooding. So that's great news. I mean, there could be some nuisance high water spots overnight, but that would be it. So here we are. This is showing you how much rain is going to fall just moving forward this afternoon through early tomorrow morning. And it shows basically a half of an inch of rain, maybe a little bit more up and down much of the valley. It does show 81 100s up in Kelso Longview, but under an inch up and down I-5, right? You've got just tonight an inch, not much more than that along the coast, getting in now to the south. See the 2-inch bullseyes plus in the southern, western Oregon, and then getting into Northern California, and there's 5, 6, 7, 8-inch bullseyes of rain in the mountains and the coastal areas of Northern California. Wow. And then you just go ahead and let's play it through the 24-hour period ending at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Still under an inch up and down the valley, 1.25 inches. Some modeling shows maybe 2 inches. There's going to be a period of heavy rain at the coast tonight, not so much in the valley, but there will be at the beach. So maybe there's some high water spots along 101 in the morning. And I think that would be it. Absolutely no threat of any river flooding from all of that. Okay, let's go around the horn as I like to do. Again, this is on my weather site, portlandweather.com. Click on Northwest Weather, current temperature map. Kind of nice to see what everybody's doing. And let's go around the horn. If you click on the current temps, you get the forecast. there are systems lined up still all the way into Saturday, another one on Monday. That's why many of the forecasts have at least likely rain at some point each 24-hour period through the first part of next week. This shows 49 in Medford tomorrow, 53 Thursday. And if you click on the worded forecast, you'll get the entire picture. I just like to kind of go through here and scan. Bend tomorrow, 48. Look at the lows. Remember, this is a south wind push up into central Oregon and the valley. So temperatures are going to hold fairly steady to rise tonight. Remember, snow levels are going up tonight, not down. Look at Bend, 42 in the morning to 48. And then there's a cold morning Thursday, but we bounce it up to 50 during the afternoon. And then you get some cooler weather next week where you get back into a mix of maybe some snow and rain showers into the first part of next week. Had somebody say, Rod, why don't you show Salem? Hello, Salem, our beautiful capital city here in Oregon. Let's go. 48 for a low tonight into tomorrow morning. Again, steady to rising temps tonight, 55 tomorrow. Just showers. Really, in the Willamette Valley for Salem, Portland, and Vancouver, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, these all look to be days with occasional showers that will be not any more than about 1/4 of an inch on average of rainfall. Just typical showery days with breezes generally 10 to 20 miles per hour, and that's it. Let's bounce up to Seattle. Yeah, just rainy. Up 50s Thursday, Friday, upper 40s through the weekend. Let's go to Newport. Even Newport at the coast, 47 to 55, pretty mild weather the next couple of days, 56 on Thursday, 57 on Friday. The system that comes in on Thursday actually gives us another shot of warm air. Remember the snow levels that we could have a wet mix at 6,000 feet Thursday overnight, Friday morning at Timberline? That's that warming that you're seeing right here along the coast. Okay. And again, you can click on any of these. All right. Here's my forecast. This is my own custom work, courtesy of Hazeldale Tire Pros up here in Vancouver. 48. Evening temperatures holding mid to upper 40s, no colder than 45. Could be 50 when you wake up in the morning, potentially in Portland. And then we'll be steady in the low 50s. Maybe it's a little bit warmer tomorrow. We'll see. Just showery weather, some rain at times Thursday, Friday. I mentioned 1/4 of an inch each day, perhaps. Some breezy winds, no more than 25 miles per hour. Sunday, I still think is a day I'm not willing to go no rain chance, but it's a day that looks mainly dry. And then showers pick up on Monday. All right. Can't tell you how much it means to me that you invest your time to listen to my work as a forecaster. It's what I do. It really means a lot to me. Thank you for that. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. You will be notified each time I post a new video. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. I'll talk to you soon.